Something.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Illuminate session, where we have special guest Lynn Baribault coming in from Clearing Paths to talk to us about spirit-led learning curves. Lynn is an intuitive channeler, certified energy practitioner of various modalities, an oracle card reader and creator, and international best-selling author. She also hosts her radio show Seeds of Wisdom on the News for the Soul channel. Lynn offers a variety of healing sessions and classes, including wisdom-filled channeled sessions where her wonderful spirit guides share insights on the main aspects of life, including employment, relationships, family, help with discovering and working with spiritual guides, to name a few topics. These are always interactive sessions where clients get to ask questions to help clarify their current lives. Lynn is a great listener who easily connects to the spirit realms. She loves how spirit is always so eager to help us live our best lives here on earth. Her goal is being of service is to bring more joy, compassion, and understanding to one's life so clients may feel more centered, calm, and better able to navigate their own lives. So thank you so much, Lynn, for joining us here today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, including me in your beautiful Illuminate series. I'm quite honored, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We don't know exactly how it's going to proceed, but we will trust and go with it.
Yes. So with your topic, spirit-led learning curves, I love just the topic itself because I mean, as life happens, we are always faced with these learning curves and things that are happening. And sometimes it's hard to believe that it's actually spirit that's putting us on this learning curve journey. So, can you share with us a little bit about what you've come to learn about these spirit-led learning curves?
I think the largest or the biggest lesson that I've learned is you don't know what you don't know until you know that you don't know what you don't know. That's my favorite saying. And it's kind of like that's how I proceed in life. Um, and what I've come to learn is that trusting spirit is not easy because it is really letting go, and it's letting go of your preconceived ideas that this is how it should work. And I laugh because it's like, okay, I've not had a near death experience. And, mediums and spiritual leaders who have had a near death experience have a different understanding of spirit. I did not have a near death experience, but I'm still truly connected to spirit. And in my little head, I thought, oh, maybe I need to have a near death experience to connect to spirit. And I'm going, no, I really appreciate not knowing this experience.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll give you just a very concrete example. Feathers. I find feathers everywhere. And feathers is a sign, obviously, that there is a connection, that spirit is around you. And I have found like more and more and more feathers where they should not be. And in talking to people on Facebook and all that, people are finding more and more feathers. So it's like, spirit is with us. And I can be a little hard-headed where it's like, nah, that's not a message. The birds are molting, it's like, and it's like, and it's so funny because I'll go to I'll park in a parking lot, and I'll open the door and go to my appointment or whatever I need to do. And then I come back and I'm going, and I come back and it's like, oh, there is a feather smack on my car
Mm.
that has flown there that was not there because I would have noticed it when I was driving, or right next to me before I step into my car. And it's very funny because I'm on the lookout, but I always laugh. I went to England and to Bath, and in going to Bath, you get to go in the bottom part of it, and it's like you have to go down staircases and staircases to get there. And I get there, and I was feeling really like spirit connected and all that, and it's like, oh, there I was gonna step, and there's a feather there. And I'm going
Mm.
like, there's no way this feather came. You and I went to visit a labyrinth. this week, last week, and I was really missing my best friend who passed away from ALS. And I'm thinking, okay, let's just do this labyrinth. And I found three feathers. And before I'm a certified death doula, so end of life practitioner. So before he passed, I said to him, I said, okay, let's make a plan. So, what are you going to send me as signs? And he said, Lynn, I've always sent you hearts in nature. So he's really continued to do that. But he said, I'm going to send you cardinals. And I went, no, like I get cardinals everywhere in my backyard. I love cardinals, but that wouldn't be special. That wouldn't be you, right? It's like negotiating with what I want is so he was laughing, going, okay, Lynn, I'll send you blue jays. And I thought, okay, I don't get very many blue jays. And the last week has been like multiple blue jays. And it's like, okay. And then when we did the labyrinth, I found a blue jay feather and it was just like, whoo, okay. And yesterday, we are in our heads where we get really frustrated with things and we're going, this is blocked. This is not going anywhere. I don't know how else to approach it. And I went out to mow my lawn, and in my pathway, look what I found.
Oh, beautiful.
So it is a perfectly full, dried, it's dead, dried dragonfly. And I'm going, okay, let go. Just
Yeah.
let go and just trust that things will get there.
Yeah.
So when you trust spirit, yes, I trust spirit, but I'm still human, where I'm going, is this really for me? Is this coming for me? Will
Yeah.
this ever end? Like I'm still in my human experience,
Yeah.
but then you get these smack in the face kind of like, hey, we are here. Relax, you're okay. And, being a planner and kind of a little bit anal as to how I plan things in my life, I've had to really let go. And it's brought me so much joy
Yeah.
and really more love of experiencing the moments.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And the moments I notice, right? Because it's all a question of, do you notice these moments?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do you
Mm-hmm.
stop and notice? And so my vision of spirit and my connection to spirit has really enriched my life in so many different ways. It has brought me gifts that I never could have expected.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of this school year, I'm a retired elementary school teacher, and I still supply teach because I love the kids. They make me laugh. And at this school where I used to teach, which was really quite full of spirit because it's a very old school, um, the admin assistant had a basket with cards, like oracle cards that you could pick. And I'm going, oh, this is so different in a school setting. Yes. So I picked a card, and that was early January. And the card was absolutely perfect because it says, if you want something you've never had, you've got to do something you've never done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm. And I'm going, okay. Because we all have different projects in our brain as to what we would like our lives to be
Mm-hmm.
and where we would want it to go. But sometimes when we dream in a smaller version. Oh,
Yes.
well, let's try with this part.
Yes.
Let's try this. In the back of your head, you go, I want that.
Yeah.
Right?
And
But
it's so
let's
interesting.
try this, right?
Yeah. Because as humans, we can only imagine from what those
You are.
limitations have been for us, right? And so we
Yeah.
think we're looking at the big picture and it looks like this, and then spirit's actually looking at a picture and it's like this, but we're
Yes.
not able to see as far as what spirit is able to see.
No. And it's quite extraordinary. And it's just, so I've really learned this. And I'm a very quiet person overall. I'm kind of an introvert. I love people, but I love my own space.
Yeah.
And, over the years, I've met mediums and intuitive, and they said, you got to get out of your house. You got to go out there. You got to do this. And it's so hard if you're quiet or more of an introvert. It's such a, even for extroverts, it's hard to put yourself out there, right? It is just, for some people, it seems to flow more easily, but it's still an effort that we have to make. And I'm going, okay, I will put myself out there, right? So I've been really more active this way. But I put out to the universe that, okay, I was ready to play in a larger sphere of things. And I kind of really connected and just, I didn't even envision anything. I just really opened up and went, I trust, I accept whatever comes my way. And that is how the producer of the radio show found me.
Mm.
And she put out there that she needed more channelers. And I said, how, like when we first spoke, I'm going, is this a scam? Right? Or what is this? How? And we had a conversation. I said, how did you find me? She said, I have no idea how I found you. I just put out that I needed more channeler. You appeared and I followed through and there we are.
Mm.
So I do have this monthly radio show, which is Seeds of Wisdom. And my little brain was just like, okay, I'm gonna make a plan of exactly what I'm going to say for each of the shows. And it's like, yeah, no, Spirit has a different way of leading the
Yes.
show. So I kind of go in with a theme and I go, okay, like show up. Like I don't want to look stupid on live air. It's like, and I know they'll show up because there's usually one of my spirit guys that says, okay, like I'm going to take over this show this time. And then I get live callers. And like, it's very different if you do lives with a person facing you because there's different energies that you can feed off from and all that. But when it's just the name of the person and their question, over the air, it's so interesting to me that I can still hone in to what they need to hear.
Mm.
And it's not me, it's I'm just translating. Well, it is me, it is through me, but I'm just honing into their beacon of light
Yeah.
and just transmitting what they need. And it's always on par. And that's what I love about what I do because it is really, I never know what I'm going to do, really. I do have a plan because that's just how most of our brains function. And it is always so much more than what I could have ever thought possible to
Beautiful.
to just give to people so that they feel heard, they feel seen, and they feel empowered that they go, Lynn, you have all these skills. And I went, well, yes, but so do you. Let's empower, let's continue this relationship so you can build on your own skills as well as I build on mine.
Yeah.
Right? We're always learning. So
Yeah. And I think it's so brilliant that you talk so openly about understanding this kind of smaller mind that you have
yeah.
and this kind of bigger connection that you have. Because I feel like a lot of us as humans, we struggle with that smaller mind that's playing it small, that's playing within the fears, that is afraid to step out, afraid to be seen, afraid to look stupid. And so, what would you say has been the most helpful for you in learning to listen to this kind of higher mind instead of this smaller mind?
For me, it's been negotiating.
Okay.
It's like, you can negotiate with spirit. Um, you know, they would wake me up in the middle of the night for me to channel when I write, and I didn't know I could say no. I didn't know I could say, not right now, let's make a date,"
Mm,
you
yeah.
know, so we could connect because they are in the spiritual elemental realms and they don't have the um the limitations that we have in the physical world. And so negotiating, and for me, spirit has done this beautifully. I'll give you an example. So I was downloaded with an oracle deck called Cedar Wheel Oracle Deck,
Yep.
and all my cards are written, all my themes are chosen and everything. But the way that it appeared was that it was a discus. So I was kind of half sleeping, resting, and I saw this circle, and it was like a slice of cedar. And I went, okay. So I drew the slice of cedar. The next day, I saw different arrows. And I went, okay. I drew the arrows. And over the years, it's developed. It was actually over the month. It developed into the Cedar Wheel Oracle deck.
Mm,
And then I thought, okay, I'm done. So spirit gives me piece by piece so that I, as Lynn, I don't get overwhelmed by this is too big. I can't do
mm.
this. Right. If they
Yeah.
give me the big thing, I'm like, nope, nope,
Yeah.
I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in this, blah, blah, blah. Right. But they give me piece by piece. And then I go, okay, I can deal the piece by piece. And it becomes this beautiful thing. So at the beginning of this year, it was okay, I'm done. I can just look on the internet and find different images I like and put them together to illustrate each of the cards. And spirit, I heard them laugh. My spirit guides just laughing, going, no, we want you to paint the cards. And I went, what? Like I'm creative, but I don't consider myself an artist who can
Mm,
paint. Like my eldest daughter was laughing her head off, going, Mom, you don't even know how to mix your colors. So she did like a lesson for me on to mix different colors to get different colors. And I realized that I didn't need to worry about the how to do it. I
yes.
just had to look at it and do it. And so I'll show you an example of one of my paintings. And this is called All Is Well.
You
Everything is,
wanna lift it up just a little bit higher?
yep,
There we
sorry.
go.
There we go. All is well. Everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this situation, only good will come. I am safe. And it's so I get this vision, and then I start painting, and I just get into the zone where it's just like you just let go. It's like when you're
Yeah.
channeling your brain, my brain as Lynn kind of takes a sidestep,
Yeah.
or I usually just push it behind because I still want to hear what they say, because what they say is usually a lesson for me as well.
Mm,
And so it's just really putting yourself out of the way and figuring out how you personally can do this, because
yeah.
each person is different,
Yeah.
right? I do it a certain way, you do it a different way. So it's really in working with spirit is really finding your own personal recipe of how you connect when
Yeah.
you want to connect, and practicing that
Yeah. Yeah.
and accepting that you don't have all the answers and you never will. It
Yeah.
just works the way it works.
Yeah. And I think that really big piece that you brought in there is we don't need to know the how in order to get started. When spirit is giving us a message of paint, we don't need to know how to paint. Spirit is not judging our paint quality or, judging it compares to Picasso or anything. They're going, there's this beautiful thing that's needing to be expressed through you.
Yeah.
So pick up the paintbrush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really hard sometimes to do, but the
Yeah.
more I do it, the more it feels, uh, it just feels joyous. It brings a lot of peace
Yeah.
to my heart. And it just feels that, oh, I am serving a purpose in doing that.
Mm.
Do I know exactly what the purpose is? Yeah, no. It'll come,
Yeah.
right? But it's just finding that piece of letting go, however you do it in that moment,
Yeah.
and
Beautiful.
just getting lost in it is
Yeah.
really the beauty of it.
For sure. Wayne Dyer in his movie The Shift, he was saying, when we get pregnant with a child for the very first time, we are total in trust of spirit to help that baby develop. And, we're not worried about how do I create 10 fingers and 10 toes and how do I make a nose and how do I make a heart or any of this sort of stuff. And then as soon as that child's born, it's like we look at God and we go, okay, God, thank you. This is perfect. I'm going to take over from here. And then we start judging, is the child eating enough? Is the child crawling at the right time? Is the child sitting at the right time? And it becomes a measurement for most of us in life is that we go, we're going to take over from here instead of just allowing spirit to continue to lead what is the most natural development for that child and for ourselves. And then we start not trusting that spirit lead that they're giving us.
Mhm. Yeah, very much so. And in talking about children, I did write a book. I did channel a book about how to raise your children with wisdom and awareness. And that's another example of how to trust spirit in your life, because I was at a course and I could feel Lori Wilson of Inner Access 101 is who the who led this course. And her spirit guide is grandmother. And I carry grandmother with me because she's just such a beautiful being. But as Lori was teaching, I'm going, grandmother has a message for me. And I'm going, nah, 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 nah. It's a 3-day course. I can wait. Because I knew it would be life changing for me. And so she said, you're going to be writing. So at the break, I said, okay, Lori, I said, grandmother has a message for me. And she said, it is now time for you to write a book, a channeled book. And it took me a year and another course with Lori to go back and say, I have a question for grandmother because I really want to know, like, I'm still not getting out of this. I have to write a book. Like, what is that? I never in my life I've always been a writer, but I never thought I would publish books. And so I went back and I went back to Lori and grandmother. I said, I have a question for grandmother. And she said, sure. And I said, okay, what is the book about? So that was the Lynn brain going, okay, how can I understand that I have the knowledge to write this book?
Yeah.
And so it was about kids and just really how parents can raise them. You're frozen. Am
I'm
I
s-
frozen?
you're
You're
not
still
frozen.
there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And, it was just like how to do this. And so I did. And this is what it looks like, how to raise your children with wisdom and awareness. And it is a channeled book and it talks about my life as a parent and letting go, as you
Mm,
say. Like our children we're there to help them, to teach them, but they're also here to teach us.
yes.
And when I was done the book, I said, okay, done. I did it. Okay, I'm done. The spirit went, no, you will be writing more and you will
Mm,
be sharing. And that's, I'm still writing.
yeah.
So it really is this, if you think you're done, you're never quite done because spirit really has a plan for you.
Yeah.
And they will give it to you when you are ready. And if you're not ready, they'll keep dropping hints. Hello, we're here. This is what you should do. This is where you should go. Does it always unfold the way you want it or you imagine? It's like, no, no,
No.
not at all. Is it easy once you trust spirit and you move ahead with it? Is it easy? Not necessarily always either, right? You have to put in the time.
Yeah.
The like to trust is to put in the time.
Mm,
to allow it to happen in form in this lifetime.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you say was your biggest? I know you've been talking a lot about letting go, but at what points did you find your biggest challenges in that letting go? Um, you've given lots of great examples about the work that you do, but in what other areas have you found this letting go or leaning into trust? Because I find for myself, when it comes to my work, I tend to be more trusting with spirit that they're just going to lead me. But when it comes to relationships, to family, to um, just my own personal life and stuff, I tend to have a little bit more need of a control in that area and not so much of go with the flow.
Hmm. Still working on that.
Okay, same here. So,
You know, I think for me is how who I am now is not who I was a year ago,
mm,
2 years ago, most certainly not 10 years ago.
yeah,
I've always been intuitive, but I've always been like a closeted intuitive.
yep,
And part of that was that my youngest daughter was not comfortable with me saying that I was an intuitive channeler, that I talk to the dead, that I communicate with all these different kinds of beings. And since I taught a lot of her friends and I know a lot of her peers, she said, Mom, can you keep quiet about that until I'm done high school?
mm.
And I said, yeah, for sure. Like once you're done high school, I will open up. And it's interesting because that's kind of when the book came out as well
Oh,
at that
interesting.
time. Um, eh, I think when I struggled the most was when I decided to tell my grandmother what I did. And because at that time I was living in Southeast Asia, I lived in Southeast Asia for 6 years. And my grandmother was very Catholic and very like afraid of death. And her sister had passed away that first year when I was in Southeast Asia and I had come back for a visit. And we were sitting in her living room with her little kitchen, her little, table, and she had done her famous pot roast. And her sister had passed away when I was away. And so I looked up and I saw her sister and I went like, oh no. Nope, I am not doing that. I am so not doing that. Thank you. Go away. So I continued eating and she wouldn't go away. And I was just like, okay. So I took a breath and I said, okay, like your sister, I can do this and I can see spirit. And your sister is my aunt, my great aunt is standing behind you. And she goes, what? Where? Right. And so it's like, what is she wearing? Like unbelieving, right? What is she wearing? And I went, okay, so I don't necessarily have to see what people are wearing, but when
Yeah,
people ask, I did. And so I described a dress that she had, and my grandmother went, oh, I know you don't lie, so I believe you. And why I believe you is because that is the last dress that she had purchased
mm,
before passing away. And I was not even in Canada at that time. So
yeah,
I would never have been aware. And I thought, okay, that's done. It's good. So, and it was really funny. I had a beautiful relationship with my grandmother, but she would, she'd want to know more and more and more.
yeah,
And like, okay, call me up. I have a question. And I'm going, okay, how do you know who's there, right?
yeah,
Or how do you know it's true? Or how do you get those messages?
yeah,
Right. So she really helped me verbalize in a normal way, if you want, a
yeah.
way I could actually express to make others understand what I did. or what I do.
Yeah.
And I think with my family, it's really interesting. They think they have learned what I do, and friends as well. And some people will say, okay, like, do you walk around people, and pick up different things? I said, no. I said, I don't walk with my antennas open. Thank you very much. I don't really want to pick up
Yeah,
everybody's.
it's like a doctor is not going through a grocery store to diagnose every health ailment, right? That would be exhausting.
So I would say that would be the hardest thing for me, is to really trying to explain to loved ones, to others, what I did and
Mm,
how I did it. And it was also like a realization for me that I really needed to get better at explaining what I actually did.
mm,
So I am better at it. I'm still learning. So I don't know if I've answered your question, but that's kind of, it makes it hard in a relationship sometimes as well. If, you want to meet a new person in your life and you're going, "Ugh, I don't wear purple. I don't fly a broom. I don't wear a pointy hat. I'm just this regular person with these different abilities."
yeah,
And it's just really navigating that, I find really still quite difficult, even though I know what I do, I know who I am.
yeah,
It's just being 100% sure that people will accept that.
mm,
And knowing that if they don't, well, it's not my problem, or it's none of my business.
yeah,
And walking away from that and being sensitive as well. It's like, okay, learning to walk away from that. Hmm, not easy.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And to me,
not
it
easy.
just shows us even more of these spirit-led learning curves. Because for every person who does not understand or might reject or question or whatever, it's an opportunity for you to really honor, like, no, this is who I am. And I don't need the pointy witch's hat in
No.
order for me to access my spiritual gifts. And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of I don't think it's as bad as what it was, but there is still a lot of kind of conditioning around the idea of what it means to be a spirit-led person, or what it means to, access your spiritual gifts, your intuitive gifts, and what that has looked like in Hollywood, and what that has, looked like historically for people. And
Yeah.
for the most part, it's just everyday looking people
Yeah.
who are, channeling these big messages and helping to lead others through their own spiritual journey.
Very much so. And it's really interesting. I'm usually when I'm with clients or with people who need a listening ear, I'm very calm. People say, "You're so calm." And it's like, I'm going, "No, I'm not always calm." Catherine.
Yeah.
I send you a message, right? We're human.
Yeah.
And, it's, yeah, very much so. And for example, like, I channel dragons. And I didn't, like, the first 2 years that I was channeling dragons, I did not want to say that I channel dragons, because I'm thinking, okay, like, this is like way out there. And they've been very patient. And, I was, I'm going to lead a workshop for the Edgar Casey conference next February again. And by email, the leader, the organizer of that was saying, "Okay, Lynn, like, great, like, what are your choices?" And how to wield the power of the dragons. And I'm going, oh gosh, really? Okay. So I wrote it out, and then I wrote two other choices that I was really comfortable with. And wrote back right away, going, "Oh, I love this. This is so different." Da, 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 da. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Yeah. And it's embracing that difference, right?
Yeah. And they're so lovely. They're I met them on the St. Lawrence. I'm originally from Quebec City, and we have a cottage on the St. Lawrence River, and they have been hidden in the rocks for a long, long, long time. And the first time I met Hawthorne is the leader of the St. Lawrence Dragons. And the first time I met him, it was just like I had to sit down. Like
Mm.
I'm on the beach. I just like, okay, I had to sit down because I was so in awe of just the size, the power, everything. But I was so giddy as well, going, oh, I can't believe this is happening. Right? Trying to go, okay, don't move too fast. You never know with the dragon. Right? All the preconceived notions of dragons. And Hawthorne was just beautiful because he just kind of crouched down. Like he
Mm.
showed me how huge he was, but he just really crouched down and then just waited for me to calm down. And, then we started our conversation. And it was just like really quite interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And maybe it's being spirit led right now, but would you be willing to do a small channeling for us today as an example? I feel
Yeah.
like I've been getting poked for like 10 minutes right now to ask
Yes.
that. So,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. And who has come through is Mimosa, is her name. And she is the youngest of the Dragon Collective of the St. Lawrence. And it's funny because she asked me to wear this dress, which is like greens and blacks and browns and pink. And those are her colors. And Hawthorne sent her as the emissary, if you want, of the Dragon Collective, because she is the youngest of them all. And I mean, she's old. She's just really, really old.
Okay.
But she's the youngest of them all. So she's been waiting to come through. And I have a pink pen as well, which I hadn't written in with pink, but I thought, I need a pen, just in case I need to write something. And it was this my beautiful pink pen. So yes, we can certainly channel beautiful mimosa. So she is saying, calm down, just take a breath. Yes, dragons are here. Dragons exist. Dragons have always, always existed. They have been part of your realm and part of multiple, multiple galaxies and realms everywhere. Well beyond what you understand of the world, well beyond of your understanding of your current world. And she is saying that we should not be feared as dragons because we had a choice. Because at the beginning of the human race, when we met the humans, we were living peacefully together in our own areas and we shared. And at some point, humans decided that they wanted to take our powers and be us, be more of us. And at the beginning, we were willing to help them grow, to help them learn, to help them embody their own power. We never gave them our power, but we helped them raise their power levels until it was not suitable anymore. And we, as the wise dragons of the St. Lawrence and multiple other collectives of dragons everywhere in the world, we decided that we needed to let go of our connection to the human world for a little bit. And a little bit in our mind is different than in your little bit in your mind. And we could have moved on to other galaxies, other universes, but we really love the human race and the beings who are here in their infancy, in their learning curve, in their openness to us. and to the magic of what is beyond their understanding and beyond their world. So we therefore decided to remain. And we have hidden in the waters because we have smaller blue dragons inhabiting the waters of the world. We have hidden ourselves in the mountains, for example, in the mountains of Peru, in the Andes. And we have also hidden ourselves in the rocky shores of the St. Lawrence River. And we are here coming out to the forefront more and more. And if you start searching for dragons, you will see that there are dragon summits in the UK, that more and more people are becoming aware of dragons, and they're becoming aware of dragons in a different way because the human race has overall raised its frequency, raised its openness to learn about others, about other beings, and accept them for who they are and what they bring, but more importantly, what they want to share. So the human race in general has become more in tune with slowing down and listening to others and listening to the cues given by the ethereals, given by us dragons. Therefore, we are more and more coming into the awareness of the general human race. And we're very thrilled with that. For this is our purpose. This is why we have stayed. And this is why we are so willing to share our wisdom and share with you so you may answer questions that we have for you and that you have for us. So before, when we lived on Earth, when we fully lived on Earth, human beings and dragons had an imbalance in relationship, and the humans were of the lower end of the balance. Yet we were still very gentle in our power. And the humans really wanted to gain more and more of that power. And we went, no. But at this point in time, when we are ready to come back and to rekindle this beautiful relationship, the human race, who are open and willing to listen, have raised their frequency and are more in tune with a more balanced exchange between us and them and us. And we're so thrilled to be opening the doors to that relationship. And we really, really look forward to you, whoever is listening to this session, to find the words, to find us, to look for us in your periphery, first of all and foremost, and then facing us. Interesting. And just really looking deep into our eyes as we can really look deep into your eyes, seeing the connection of soul to soul, and perhaps have more of an equal opportunity to learn from each other. We are there as magnificent and powerful guides, and we await your knocking on our door to get to know us, get to understand us, be willing to learn, be willing to be willing to go past your awe and your giddiness, as Lynn, this young one here, has felt. She has a relationship with us because she decided to take time to get to know us. And there's so much more that we want to teach her. And there's so much more that we want to bring forth into your world. Therefore, thank you very much for allowing us to come forth today and bringing the dragon lore, the dragon power to your awareness. And she bows her head and gratefulness. And she is very thankful for this opportunity to open the door to more communication and connection with the dragon world. And there she goes.
Wonderful.
So this is out of the bag. It's such a different way of channeling for me because when I channel, I usually kind of open my left hand and they kind of come to the side, to the left. They can come to the front. They can come rarely to the right unless it's like family members. And if it's the collective or like the divine, they'll come a different level. But with the dragons, they actually come through my stomach area. So
Mm,
it's really like the earth.
yeah.
And like when Mimosa speaks, she speaks in a kind of a slower manner. When it's Hawthorne who speaks, it's just like there's pauses between words when I channel him. Like it's a
Mm,
very different way of channeling.
yeah.
And their frequency is very much, like elephants. Now we can hear the lowest of lowest frequency because we have the technology to do this. And before we weren't aware of how they communicated, or
Yeah.
trees, roots of trees communicating with
Yeah.
each other. We were not aware of that because we as humans didn't have the technology we could use.
Now, one question I'd like to ask, because as you were channeling this today, and on Saturday we had done a retreat together, and you had done a channeled message then, um, and there is like a sensation in my body that happens when you're channeling that almost makes me feel like I'm checking out of this reality. Like I'm aware of the words, but it's like it's hitting something inside of me. And I don't know if it's bypassing my physical body, but there's like an overall sense of such tiredness as you're channeling. And so I'm just I'm bringing it up because it's like if it's happening to me, it might happen to other people as
Yeah.
well. So what is that? Is that just the energy of the dragons that I'm feeling? Because I don't think it was dragons on Saturday that you were
There was not
channeling,
dragons on
but it's the same
Saturday. No.
sensation.
Yeah. It's just the frequency of letting go
Okay.
is what they're saying. And it's a different frequency than people are used to. And it is a frequency that kind of transcends space and time and our humanness.
Okay.
So it kind of reaches in. They're just explaining because I didn't know the answer. They're going, okay. So they're saying that they're channeling what I'm channeling actually breaks through all the barriers
Mm,
of my body because I feel different when I channel.
yeah.
I feel I speak in a different way when I channel. I certainly use words that I don't normally use, but it's kind of that it really is this transcending of frequency and transcending of the beingness of our
Okay.
humanness.
Okay.
And it feels tired because it's like you're letting go.
Okay.
You can just let go for that little moment where I'm channeling.
Mm, okay. I like that.
Hmm. Thank you for the question because I hadn't even thought about asking that question. Because people will ask me, "Are you tired when you channel?" And I go, "No, I just feel so aligned and centered
Mm,
and just flowy as well." It's kind of it's very different.
yeah.
But they take over the frequency of my voice
Okay.
and through my voice and what emanates basically, what pours out of me. Basically, it's kind of like ethereal hug
Okay.
spirit. Hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because you can have like a divine hug, you can have a dragon hug, which will really take you down. Or just, confirmation and love from loved ones. And I feel very grateful when you know, never ever would have thought I would be doing this. And I think that's the letting go of the little brain Lynn, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and it's the beauty of it.
yeah. And then what encouragement or um
Hmm.
I don't know if encouragement would be the right word, but for others who say may feel like they have a gift to channel, that they may have a gift of being able to hear spirit in some way, and they're wanting to express that, what encouragement would you give them to help them get started that you wish you could have received when you were first getting started?
All of us have people in our lives who know more than we do. And it is to dare to ask your questions without feeling that I'm going to look stupid in asking my questions.
Mm,
And it's also developing that relationship with yourself as an intuitive being. And I was talking about your own like it's not creating, it's kind of harnessing your own recipe. How do you function? How do you connect? And so there's a lot online. You can book with me if you want to talk to about that because I do have a mentorship. Um, I offer it's new. It's mentorship sessions where I've really found that people wanted the one-on-one attention to how specific can I get about my own skills
yeah.
because we have all have skills. Some are really into deep drawers within our hearts that we have not dusted off in a few lifetimes, right? Or like people will say, I'm intuitive, but I don't know what to do with it, and I don't know how I am intuitive. So it's really in asking questions and noticing, okay, like I knew this was a gut feeling. How did it come into form? How did it show up in my world?
Yeah.
How was I feeling when I got this gut feeling? Right? Some people have gut feelings, some people have interrupted thoughts, some people have just lightning rods of brilliance. And it's like, oh, where did that come from? Well, that came from you.
Yeah.
It's not so all these skills are not outside of yourself, they are within, and they are part of who you are. They're part of your human makeup, you know. So it's really questioning who you are and more so noticing how you function as an intuitive being
Mm,
and finding someone with whom you can chat about this
yeah.
and learn and grow. Hmm.
Beautiful. And then one last question for you that I try to remember to ask all of my guests. If you could tell the world one thing right now, what would you want the world to know?
That life is so much more exciting, beautiful, and expansive when you trust what you hear from spirit.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lynn, for joining us here today.
Yeah.
If anyone is wanting to connect with Lynn, you can connect with her on Facebook at Lynn Baribault at Clearing Paths. You're also on Instagram under the same name.
Under Lynn Baribault, yes. And I have my website, which is just www.lynnbaribault.com. Or you can email me as well as lynn@lynnbaribault.com.
Wonderful. And then when is your next radio show happening? Because I feel like
This,
that's coming up soon.
this Wednesday, actually, at 4
Okay.
p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay. And how can
I
people
don't know
connect
yet.
in to listen to the radio show?
Yeah, so it's a live radio show and it's live from New York, which is really funny. And there is a call in if you go to News for the Soul broadcast, there is a phone number so you can call in with your questions. And my radio show is at 4 p.m. the third Wednesday of every month. And I heard do more, but I said to Spirit, oh, let's try once a month. So I really want to do more radio shows and getting the word out to the world. And so that is Seeds of Wisdom on this Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern
Awesome.
Standard Time. Yeah, it's exciting.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me here
Thank
today,
you.
Lynn. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Thank you.